Welcome to the P.E.A.R podcast, where our goal is to share the stories of women who have pivoted, explored opportunities, adapted to circumstances, and repositioned themselves for success, no matter what life or business puts in their path. And I would like to welcome you back. Today, I'm going to do something a little different. If you've been listening to the podcast over the last several episodes, you've heard some really meaningful conversations, stories about growth, pivots, challenges, and new directions. And I've been reflecting over some of these conversations over the last few months, not just listening to what my guests were saying, but to what they were experiencing. And more importantly, what so many women in business and leadership are navigating right now. So today I want to do something just a little different. I want to step back and kind of connect some of the dots that have been coming out over these episodes. And I want to share what I'm learning from these conversations with these amazing women that we've had on the podcast so far. So I think one of the first things that comes to mind is the importance of pause when we feel stuck. And I think a lot of times we have been set up to push through. We've been encouraged to get over it, to just keep going, whatever the context or the conversation is just don't stop, just keep going. And often that depletes our energy. It just doesn't resonate well with us. It's not good for not only for our mind, but for our body, for our relationships, for everything that we're involved in. And so it's really important to do that pause. And then another conversation that we had talked about the value of introspection. And while we are navigating these major life changes, so the getting stuck and the pausing, while you are pausing, just think about whether you journal, whether you have conversations with people, how you do your introspection. It's not how you do it, it's that you do it. And then being able to sit in that pause, in that introspection, and think through where you are, where you've been, what you've been doing. And I think one of our other guests talked about how our lived experiences can guide us in our work. And sometimes that will then lead into that introspection as we're doing that. What are our lived experiences? What have we learned? What have we experienced so far in our life? What has worked? What hasn't? Sometimes I think we have a habit of if things aren't working, we just start brand new. But oftentimes it's a case of look at what's working and keep that. And maybe take a look at what's not working. And we don't want to shift all of it because if you change too many things in your life, chances are it's kind of like that rubber band. It will go back to where it was very quickly. And so if we really want to sustain change as we go through these different seasons of our life, then we need to do it with intention and a lot of thought. One of our guests said, say yes to opportunities that show up in your lives. For some people, that can be a little dangerous because saying yes to everything means that you're in overload. So saying yes to opportunities is a good thing, but also do it with some intention. And there again, back to that word introspection. Think about what these opportunities can help with your life and where you're going and what you're doing. I know I've had opportunities that have shown up at different times in my life, and I've had to say no because either I didn't have the time, I wasn't in the right place at that time to say yes to it. Looking back, I wonder how things would have been different had I done that. But other opportunities came along. And there have been some amazing things that I have said yes to that have really impacted my life as I've gone. So it's a good thing to be able to look at these opportunities and appreciate where they've come from. And I think one of our guests talked about the importance of networking and building opportunities. And sometimes those opportunities that you're saying yes to have come from the relationships you have built through networking. I know that I have got some amazing connections globally, that some people I've known for years, some people I just met in the last few years. But networking, getting to know people, networking is not just about exchanging business cards. It's also about finding out who these people are. What do we have in common? How do we complement each other? How can we collaborate? And that's the piece that I love more than anything is finding people that I can collaborate with. What strengths do they have that I don't, and how can I help them to be the better version of themselves and what they're doing? So that's really an important thing to do. So I have really appreciated listening to the guests that I've had on so far. They have had some wonderful things to talk about. And I hope that you have enjoyed it as well. We have some really interesting ones coming up in the next few months. So if you have been with us, I encourage you to stay with us. And if something in any of these episodes has resonated with you, or if you've been noticing some transitions in your life, reach out, send a message, share what's landing with you. We would love to hear how you're doing and where things are going in your life, because these conversations aren't just happening on this podcast. They're happening in real time, in real lives, in real businesses globally. And women really need to talk more about what it is that we're feeling and doing and participating in, and also what we're struggling with, so that we can support one another. Because the more we talk about it, the more clarity we can create, not just for ourselves, but for one another. And so I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for listening, or watching, depending on where you're getting to our podcast. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.